Let's go on a short tour of a Google spreadsheet. So here we are in a spreadsheet, and as always, you should begin by clicking in the Untitled Spreadsheet block and giving your sheet a title. And notice that when you do that, you will, of course, get the folder icon that you can click and move it to a particular place. So if we click that, you can see I'm in my drive and I could select a folder that I want to move it into. And also you get that little cloud icon that tells you that it's been saved. Okay, we have a whole bunch of menus here, and we'll look at some of those in just a second. And underneath that, we have a toolbar that does a lot of things. And then we have the body of the spreadsheet. So if you have never used a spreadsheet before, the way a spreadsheet is organized is columns across the top, and those have letter values, and then numbers down the side to denote the rows. And so if you click, say, here, you would be in a cell. They call this a cell, and it would be cell A2 because it's in column A and row 2. And so this would be cell C6. Notice how if you click on those things, the C and the 4 are like a little bit darker gray to kind of show you that's how you know what cell you're in. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these things and the menus and then see what we can do here. So here we have undo and redo, of course, and print. And here you can look at the spreadsheet in various sizes. So if you want it to be bigger or smaller, you can do that here. This is a bunch of ways that you can format data. So if you're putting in numbers and you always want it to be formatted as currency, or if you want to eliminate or create more decimal places or something like that, you can do that here. Here's your font and your size, and then those standard kinds of bold, italic, strike through, and the color. So you can still change the color of the font. You can fill particular cells if you want to. You can create a border. So what you see down here are called the grid lines, and there's actually a way you can take those out. But if you want them to be darker, you can do that here. So you can make the grid lines colored, and you can actually give them, like a different thickness, or if you want them to be dotted or something. And if you want everyone to show, you would click this, and now on my cell, see how I've given it a red dotted border? And of course, if you don't like that, you can always hit the undo button and make it go away. But so you can change the outline of the cells. If you want to do something to all of the cells, you should click up here and that will select them all. And then you could go ahead and make them all have a red dotted border if you wanted that for some reason. Next to that, we have the ability to merge cells. So if you have a couple of cells selected like that, and you click on merge, now you make sort of one long cell. And then we have the alignment. And then this is, do you want the things that you put in the cell to be at the top or in the middle or at the bottom? And you can choose that. You can wrap the text so that the cell, that would be this, so that the cell will grow as you put text in it. So if you put so much text that it starts to run off, it looks like it's even gone into the next cell. It hasn't, but if you want to be able to see it all in one cell, that's where you would wrap the text. And you can also change the direction that the text is going. So if you want the text to go up and down or diagonally or something, you can do that too. And then under the dots, there's a couple of other things. You can insert a link, you can insert a column or a comment, you can insert a chart, and you can filter your data or put in a function. So that would be like if you want your spreadsheet to do some math for you. Okay, in the file menu, we have sort of the typical things. You can get something new, you can open something you were already working on, you can import something. So if you have a spreadsheet that was made in Excel, you could bring it into Sheets here. You can make a copy of a spreadsheet, you can download it. And notice you can download it as an Excel sheet or as a PDF. Those are probably the two most common things. Sometimes you'll be using a tool that'll ask for a comma separated value or CSV file, and you can also export it to that. Email it as attachment, version history. We've looked at those in some of the other tools. You can rename it, move it, put it in your trash. You can publish it to the web. We're actually going to do that as part of our assignment, and print. So those are all the things that are in file. Typical sorts of things in edit, copy paste. redo and undo. But there's also delete values. So if you wanted to delete a whole row or a whole column or something like that, you could do that here. Under view, there's a couple of things that are worth pointing out here, I think. One is freeze. So if you want a column to freeze so that those are your headings, this is how you would do that. And then as you scroll through data in your spreadsheet, a particular column or set of columns will not move. And this is also how you eliminate the grid lines if you don't want any grid lines at all. Okay, under insert, you can put all kinds of things into cells. So you can put images, drawings, forms, functions. You can make checkboxes. So notice that one down here. That's kind of cool if you want to make a to-do list or something. And then you can also, of course, insert rows and columns as you need to. It's typical sorts of formatting things. So, the formatting for text and for numbers is here, the fonts and all of that kind of stuff. There's also themes. I'm going to go ahead and click on that so you can see. So those are like some preloaded color palettes and font styles. If you want to use one of those, you certainly can. Under data, there's things you could do with data. Probably the two most important for people to know right off the bat are sorting. So if you have information about, say, your class and you want to sort it into a particular order, you could do that here. Under tools, there's spelling, of course. Everybody knows what that one does. You can also, from a spreadsheet, create a form. That might be something people want to take a look at. There are add-ons for sheets, and if you want to check those out, you just go down to Get Add-ons. One that I like a whole lot is called Autocrat. That's one that you can use to complete a merge. So if you have a certificate and you want to put all the students' names on it, Autocrat will do that for you. And then, of course, there's help. Okay, just a couple of other things I want to show you before we get started. Right now, we are on a sheet in our spreadsheet called Sheet 1, and if I wanted to add more sheets, I can do that just by adding this button. So now I have Sheet 1 and also Sheet 2, and if you click on the little drop-down arrow next to the title, you can delete it, duplicate it, copy it, rename it. So if you wanted to have a spreadsheet for each of your classes throughout the course of the day, you could do that, or for every class you teach every year. So like this is my 2020-2021 class roster, and then the next year you could add another sheet with your new roster. So you would just click this and then rename it. You can give the sheets little colored tabs. So notice how that one gets a red bar when I click on that colored tab. You can also protect the sheet. So if you wanted to share your spreadsheet with someone and you want them to be able to edit one sheet but not edit another one, you can do that here. You can also drag these tabs into a different order. So if you are setting them up and then you decide you want them to go in a different order, that's easy to do as well. Okay, I hope that's enough to get you started. I hope you enjoy working with sheets.